All right. Welcome back, everybody, as we progress into June and the end of mandatory mini camps coming up here this week. Should be good to see some news in the NFL this week, and we're going to feature two LOC teams this week. How you feeling this week, Sean?
Yeah, I'm really excited, for mandatory minicamp to get over. See where everybody's at, see what they're talking about the rookies, even the players are probably going to be dropped. Building out those rosters based on the mandatory minicamp because once actual camp starts, there's not that much time before the draft's here. So we gotta get all the information we can.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And we might even see an injury or two. You never know. And that's the beauty of the off season or the tragedy of the off season. But today it's Deuce Bombers, and you can see career fifth all time, a guy second all time in win percentage. Deuce Bombers has a track record of success in the LOC.
That he does. He does. He's 5-2 in the playoffs. That's first all time. Obviously, that's the record that you want to have. You want to be first in the when you want the best record in the playoffs. Made the playoffs 3 times. He has 6 trophies, 2 divisional wins. But looking at his teams, I mean, it could go either way for him this year, I believe. But definitely his accolades, are definitely positive for him.
I agree.
And looking at it, he's also in the American division. Looking at his last place, he finished 8th in 2017. He won it all. But as the beginning said, 2017 is a long time ago. 3 seasons ago, and then we're going on to a new season. Finished 8th. Looks like his trajectory is going down. What do you think?
It has gone down. The last 3 years, I believe he's missed the playoffs twice and made the playoffs this year, one and done since that championship. So at Deuce Bombers, in all honesty, it's a kudos to the owners in the LOC. It's got more competitive, and Deuce Bombers isn't having the same success he had when he first was in this league.
Yeah, I think honestly the issue, his issue started when we did the realignment of the divisions. I think that's really when he was playing in a weaker division. And I think, moving over to the American division kind of hurt him. I think, the Americans are taking pride beating the crap out of each other and making it a hard division to play against now.
Yeah, it's definitely a competitive. I love the new divisional format all across the board. It's awesome.
100%. Yeah, and then looking at his record, we talked about divisional opponents. He plays Templars. He's 5-1. He's 5-2 against me, but the last 2 times we played were 1-1 against each other. He has a winning record against Life's a Mitch and the Architect. I mean, there's his division right there. He has a winning record against them, but I mean, if you go in the past couple seasons, actually tells a different story. He's not actually shining. A lot of those wins against me and Templars are from earlier in the LOC history. They're not recent.
Yeah, it's a good point. And I mean, but he does have the winning record. And then, the other one there too, the week 6 annual beating, it looks like, against Lucas, 7-1.
Yeah.
Lucas has to win that one for some sort of pride this year. But Deuce Bombers, he's had success, and we'll see if he will continue that this year.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, looking at his keepers, he has Matt Stafford, Delvin Cook, Mike Evans, Jerry Jeudy, Mooney, and Bosa. And honestly, 2 of those keepers were trades with me. I traded him Stafford. I traded him Jeudy. And I know a lot of people are a big fan of Stafford with the Rams. Honestly, I mean, they had Jared Goff. I know people are going to say, oh, it's Jared Goff. But honestly, I think Jared Goff's going to score more points than Stafford this year just because. I think they're going to run the ball with Akers. And, Jeudy, he's if he can catch the ball and keep it in his hands, maybe he'll put up some points, but he has drop issues.
Yeah, you brought up some points here and some bold predictions, going saying that, you think Goff's going to score more points than Stafford. And, the other thing with Deuce Bombers right now, he does have Keenan Allen there as well in the background, who, based on my board, would be the best wide receiver available if he does make the draft. So he does have some trade bait there to obviously try to get some picks, but he's obviously going up and comer at wide receiver with Jeudy and Mooney and Delvin Cook. If he can stay healthy, he definitely has top level points for running back.
Yeah, for sure. And I definitely agree. Yeah, if Keenan Allen's definitely there, he's definitely the top wide receiver. Honestly, I might keep Allen. If this was Dynasty, I can see keeping these three. But it's the LOC. I don't know if I would keep Judy over Allen, honestly. But that's not my team. And then looking at his picks, he has 13th overall. He has picks second round, third round. He has two in the fifth, and then he moves on to the eighth and the ninth. He doesn't have any fourth, sixth, seventh, or tenth, which could hurt him. But at least he does have the first three picks there. For picking the first three rounds, can't hurt him there.
Yeah, what's interesting now is as we go into the playoff teams, unlike what we saw with BC Lions and the Architect, where they had a ton of picks, they didn't make the playoffs. The playoff teams are sparse on picks, and we see it right here with Deuce Bombers, only 7 picks in the first 10 rounds, and we're going to have to see if that's going to affect where he places this year, or if he makes the playoffs, or in a newly relegation round, which I'm sure we'll touch on.
Yeah, we'll definitely touch on that. Yeah, after we talk about always shitty, as you like to call them. But yeah, I always find it funny though when I look at the playoff teams going into the next year, and then I look at the rosters after they draft. I'm like, the rosters actually aren't that bad. It always surprises me, honestly. I think drafting is more of a crapshoot than a science for some players in the LOC, and I think the best players are always the best teams, and they always actually somehow come up with a good draft.
I like it.
Yeah, moving on to the next rounds, he doesn't have 11th, the 13th, the 14th, the 15th, or a 19th. He does have 2 picks in the 20th, but I mean it's the 20th round. And then going on the back 9, he has 3 picks in the 25th, 3 picks in the 26th, 3 picks in the 29th. Honestly, who wants to have 3 picks in the 29th round? I mean, you're kind of throwing darts there, hoping people kind of get injured, and hoping you can pick up a gem there, but usually doesn't happen.
No, you know what? When I saw Deuce Bombers' team and he had 7 picks in the first 10 rounds, but then you saw the mid picks and then again there was hardly any picks, and then you see here they're all at the back end, and he's going to be taking it in the back end with having all his picks back here. And I think in a competitive American division, I think he's in serious trouble looking at this pick situation. He's going to have to do something with Keenan Allen. He has to try to get some sort of draft capital for him, or accept taking the loss of losing a 14th round or whatever he gave you to Judy on the Mooney or the Judy trade. So that's the way I see it for Deuce Bombers.
Yeah, it's gonna be a tough one for him this year. I don't think he'll fall down to the regulational playoffs or the regressional playoffs, I should say. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely gonna be a crapshoot. Hoping he pick up some picks there. And switching over to too good for a name. I mean, if he had a name, then maybe he wouldn't be called always shitty. But I guess he's too good for that. Switching over to his record, he's 37-28 all time. That's good enough for 11th. Playoffs, he's the complete opposite of Deuce Bombers. He's 2-3 in the playoffs. Made the playoffs 3 times. He does have that 1 trophy, divisional titles. He has 0 divisional titles. His percentage win percentage is .569, which is 7th all time. He does play international division. I personally believe that's the weaker division of all the divisions in the LOC. And yes, I'll take those shots when I play them, and they can beat me up, but that's okay. I still think they are the weaker division in the LOC.
Yeah, it's funny you guys keep saying that 3 international division teams made the playoffs last year. But Luke, I've always said from day one, he took over one of the worst teams I saw in the LOC and made the playoffs in 3rd place the next season. And, 7th all-time win percentage tells me he's top 8. So at least he's making the playoffs regularly. And Luke has, but we'll see if the story will go that way this year.
Yeah, for sure. Switching, 7th place. You said his best finish was 3rd overall in 2016. Switching over to his schedule, he does have a winning record against Deuce Bombers, who we just talked about. He's 3-3 against you. I know you call him always shitty, but I guess you're always shitty too, or you're both mediocre when you play each other. 3-3. He does have a losing record against me, Fighting Geese, Sabatica Spartans. A couple of his divisional players, he does opponents. He does have a losing record against, which I was actually surprised to see.
I'm not. I mean, Sabatica Spartans and Swahino, these two guys are for real. I don't know if it's going to go that well for one of the teams this year, but we'll see that when we get to their previews. But I think Luke here, 3-3 versus me, two of those wins were when the Browns were on the bye. And look, I'm not making excuses, but when I have 9 starters on the bye that week, you better fricking be beating me, or you are always shitty. And I still think he is always shitty. I'm looking forward to week 10, and we'll see why we're looking forward to it here in a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, he did play against the buys, but I guess I should mean you should draft better.
Yeah, we'll see.
looking at his keepers, he does have Melvin Gordon, Michael Thomas, Debo Samuel, DJ Shark, Robert Woods, and Leonard there. I mean, he does, he's keeping 4 wide receivers. As we talked about in the past previews, I'm a big fan of keeping more running backs than wide receivers, just because running wide receivers are a dime a dozen. Let's be honest, unless you're getting tier 1 or tier 2 wide receivers there. Melvin Gordon, I mean, that's a good one. But is he going to split time? I don't really know. It's tough, and then it gets tougher, I think, when we look at his draft picks. But what do you think about his keepers?
I think when I look at so I know Susie has 5 wide receivers as keepers, and he has 4 wide receivers, and I like his wide receivers. I really do. I know I always talk trash about DJ Shark, but I think he is pretty good. Debo Samuel coming back. And Michael Thomas, now that somebody can actually throw the ball farther than 20 years, now that old man Reeves is out of there, he might get some big play points. But you're right, the big red flag there is Melvin Gordon. And he gave up a lot for Melvin Gordon, which we're about to hear in his draft pick scenario.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, like you said, Debo Samuel, I think if Trey Lance starts there, I think Debo Samuel's a steal there. But like you said, looking at his picks, he has a first rounder, but then he waits, forever till the 5th round, and then he waits again another round and picks the 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th rounds. He does wait forever to make some picks after he makes that first rounder pick.
80 picks. He might as well go make breakfast after his pick in round 14 or the 14th pick. Sorry. And I know for sure he gave up at least a round 2 for Melvin Gordon. He has to be kicking himself now for that trade. I think it was like a 2 and a 4 from what I recall. I'm sure he'll let us know in the chat. But this is like, again, Deuce Bombers and always shitty here. You can see the draft pick scenario isn't that great. And we'll see. That'll be a common theme for a lot of the playoff teams.
Yeah, for sure. Looking at his mid 9 or mid 10, he does have a pick in every round, which is honestly pretty good for the teams that made the playoffs. He does have 3 picks in the 16th round. But like going on the back 9, he has 2 in the 23rd, 2 in the 24th. Again, he has picks in every round. And honestly, that's not what you want to see. You want to see that 29, 28, 27 saying no picks. That way, you got picks at higher rounds there.
Yeah, I totally agree. But his middle pick board situation there is definitely a lot better than Deuce Bombers. He does have, I think, 4 solid wide receivers. For these teams, though, and for always shitty specifically, I think where it's going to be really challenging for him is he needs a quarterback. And if he doesn't go with the quarterback in the first round at pick 14, he might have to wait till round 5. And then who's available by then? Cam Newton? I don't know. Like, we don't know. And I think that's really going to be the biggest question mark for Shitty, is having a decent quarterback this year. Yeah,
it's definitely going to be a struggle. I think it's going to be a struggle for a lot of teams. You're right, because of the first couple picks, that back first round, there's probably going to be the good quarterback's going to go top second pick, second round, or even the second round. I agree with you. Quarterbacks are definitely going to be a hot commodity. Maybe he does get somebody like Zach Wilson, but he plays for the Jets. Let's be honest there. Is he going to be great, or is he going to be like the Jets were last year? Horrible. So it's definitely going to be a struggle from there.
And I'm pretty sure he does have Brady. So, I mean, if he got desperate, he could drop one of those other guys and keep the GOAT for one more year.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, Tom Brady, I know we were talking about early on about fantasy pros and how they're not that reliable, but they're saying, Tom Brady's top 5 quarterback. I think I read that last week when one of the articles you posted. So, I mean, there's definitely somebody to look into, either keeping. I mean, he's going to get points in, Tampa Bay. Let's be honest.
Yeah, and he awesome wide receiver core there too. So.
Yeah, and the backfield is not too shabby either.
So let's get into that relegation round. So everybody voted. We got the majority. We're going to have the relegation playoffs. How do you see this going down?
I'm actually excited for this. I'm excited for, like, let's say, just from the fact of if you had a couple players go down and injured in the beginning of the season, so you have a horrible record, but they come back, towards the end of the season, you actually have a shot to not get relegated. I mean, I honestly think I see it working out great. Some people might complain about it, but the LOC spoke, and we always put the whatever the league wants, league gets, and I'm super excited for this.
I think it is going to be fun too, and I think it will have to rely on a couple of us, like me, you, maybe even Chris, to really check the scores and make sure that we do have the right scores for each team, and it's not that much of a hassle. So I am really looking forward to it, and everybody still gets a fair shake at the process. But we could see a decent team go down because of it, and a guy like a team that we think would go down, like maybe Norm or Templars, maybe they get hot in a relegation round, and someone that we wouldn't think would go downfall. So I'm looking forward to
I know last year you talked about Templars, well, when he was the Illuminati in the Dynasty, saying how he didn't win a game. And I think he won both of his playoff games last year. Like something crazy. He won no games in the regular season, but he won both his playoff games.
But that was in Dynasty when nobody keeps score anymore.
Well, that's true. But I did check. But speaking about keeping score, I did check last year's scoring, and it did have the scores for the teams that missed even the the playoffs, the consolation playoffs. So we did have the scores for everybody there. So it looks like, as long as everybody's setting their lineup, and we should be good there. And speaking about setting your lineup, we are going to start imposing those fines on teams who don't set their lineup correctly. Maybe if somebody was out, they got out at 12:30, the game's at 1, we'll let it pass. But if somebody's out the day before and you don't set your lineup, we are going to set those fines.
Yeah, totally. I agree. Everybody's got to set the lineup. It's got to be fair. And, this is a competitive league, and you guys should just be doing that because you are competitors and warriors and love playing fantasy football and playing with diehard football fans like us.
I agree. Well, man, it was a pleasure talking to you. I'll talk to you next week.
All right, guys, we'll see you all next week. And we got yourself, Fallen Misfits, and Orange Crush on the docket as we get back to Dynasty. Can't wait. See you guys next week.
See you. Bye.